Philadelphia's first free agent domino just became extremely clear. And once Howie executes, the Birds' cap space will jump even higher, giving more credibility to the Maxx Crosby buzz we heard over the weekend, while also creating a trade with the Steelers that would be a win-win for both sides. Oh, and Giants fans, right now, they're lying about the latest A.J. Brown trade rumors that you need to see to believe. I'm Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show. Middle of February, Eagles updates are usually full of two different types. Type A is a ridiculous clickbait article that tried to get as many people as possible to go absolutely berserk online. And a great example was the latest A.J. Brown to the Giants narrative that popped up over the weekend that you have got to see the details behind because they are absolutely ridiculous. But then there's Type B, the legit speculation kind that honestly will likely happen. And that to me is what's more important, obviously, because NFL free agency is less than 1 month away. And Philadelphia will be making moves. It's my job to help you know what's realistic and what's complete fantasy. First, though, I have still not heard from the winner of last week's Jordan Spector Art Big Dom signed card giveaway. That was Tony B460. Tony, you have till Wednesday to email me, or else I will go down below in the comment section of this video and pick a new winner again on my next video. So drop a like, comment Big Dom, just in case Tony doesn't see this video. Now, first things first, I find it very interesting that so few people talking about what will almost certainly be the Birds' first move of free agency in the coming weeks. It will likely be one of the few cuts they actually make internally when they release cornerback Michael Carter to create an additional 50% of their currently projected $22 million in cap space. Right now, Carter's on the books through 2027 for $10.25 million. But if they cut him, say, next month, they only eat $1.38 million in dead cap money while adding $8.8 million in spending money this offseason. That one move could take Philadelphia from $22 million in spending money to over $30 million, literally in one move. And that's before they maybe extend Jalen Hurts or extend Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. We're going to go from $30 million after cutting Michael Carter to hopefully $35, maybe even $40 million. And of course, this is an easy decision because Carter was really the only other trade deadline move that Howie made opposite of Jalen Phillips. And wow, we all talked about how, he was going to be the new slot cornerback. We can move Cooper DeJean to the outside, take over Dory Jackson's role. But Dory started playing well, Coop is a true nickel cornerback, and Michael Carter sat on the bench. With the result being that Carter only played 109 defensive snaps for the Birds this past season, with 65 of those coming when the Birds rested their starters in Week 18. AKA, it's really simple, they're going to cut Michael Carter. Unless he wants to completely restructure his contract and play for nothing in 2026 and 2027, which he probably doesn't want to, this will be Philadelphia's first big move. And the question is, how will they then take the money they save from cutting him and put it to good use? My obvious answer is one that you know already, and that is Maxx Crosby. I want him, but especially for the price suggested by CBS Sports over the weekend of a 2026 first and a 2027 second. That's pretty cheap. Personally, though, I think the Raiders will want a lot more than that, but is there anyone in the comments section who wouldn't give up 23 overall this season and a simple second next year to land the premier pass rusher? To me, the answer is yes. I'll read the comments down below, but obviously if a first and a second is not enough to go and get Crosby, let's say he becomes an impossible pipe dream, I do love the brand new idea suggested by ESPN's Bill Barnwell of sending Tanner McKee to the Steelers in exchange for edge rusher Nick Herbig. First off, McKee to the Steelers makes a ton of sense, and Philadelphia will probably draft a quarterback at some point in April's draft, find the new Tanner McKee replacement, and his stock, it's not going to get much higher. Pittsburgh likely bringing back Aaron Rodgers for one more season, so if you're Tanner McKee and the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's a win-win. Tanner goes to the AFC, he gets something in return, he sits behind Rodgers, and then in 2027 could be the heir apparent to the Pittsburgh throne. Also, want to give a massive shout out to the sponsor of this video, Bullstrap. Now, most of you guys already know Bullstrap for these bad boys right here. They're legendary leather cases. I have the black minimalist one I've been rocking because I like my phones thin, also protected, and this thing looks fantastic. It's handcrafted, did I mention slim, and basically the perfect leather case. But the newest MVP of my everyday carry has been this bad boy, the leather NavSafe wallet that snaps right on. And this is not just any MagSafe card holder. The NavSafe has Apple's Find My technology integrated directly into the leather. And when they say integrated, I mean it's actually integrated. There's no bulky AirTag sticking out, and so if you ever misplace your wallet, you can track it instantly using Find My technology. And it's even MagSafe rechargeable, so you pop the wallet on your MagSafe charger to power up the tracking tech, which basically combines the high-end artisan leather feel you come to expect with total peace of mind. Everything Bullstrap makes is MagSafe compatible and covered by a lifetime warranty. And they have a ton, and I mean a ton of different styles, like the Slate Portfolio case, plus gear for your AirPods and iPad. And yes, for all the Android users, they just dropped their newly released leather cases for the Samsung S25 Ultra. And yes, if you want to pick one up, Bullstrap is giving me 15% off for you guys. Link down below in the description box. Use promo code Thomas15 to go ahead and get your NavSafe wallet today. Plus, both players are still on rookie contracts, and on the Herbig side, he's one of these young stud edge rushers who I think Philadelphia would love, at 16 sacks in 3 seasons, but has been injured and has only started in 11 games in Pittsburgh. Right now, it feels very likely Philadelphia will be doing something at the edge rusher spot in free agency. Re-sign Jalen Phillips, trade for Nate Herbig or somebody else, go and get Maxx Crosby. I don't know. I just don't think Philadelphia is going to simply let Jalen Phillips walk and then do nothing until the NFL draft and draft somebody in the early parts of the first round, the second round. Who knows? To me, it feels like they're going to make a trade or a signing at edge rusher, and Herbig, it makes a lot of sense. And I don't want to call Nick Herbig a consolation prize, but it does feel like if they were to miss out on Phillips or Crosby, adding an already young and explosive edge rusher to an already young and explosive group would be an absolute home run. Plus, he's basically the same age as Nolan Smith. That would apply a little bit of friendly pressure to the Birds' third-year edge rusher, as both would then be competing against each other for a second big contract. Of course, Philadelphia could eventually just sign both of them. That sounds fine to me as well, but I like the idea of going younger if you can't get a Crosby or Phillips. Obviously, time will tell. There's no saying the Steelers want to actually trade Nick Herbig. They want to get younger and cheaper on defense, and getting rid of a rookie contract is kind of the opposite of that. But if they want a quarterback, caliber Tanner McKee, to me, this one makes an absolute ton of sense. And while this is all speculation, that's what middle of February is in the National Football League. For those going in my comment section saying, where's the actual proof? It is worth noting that next week, end of February, is when the actual rumors from real sources start to really rise. As we forget, a couple of years ago, Saquon Barkley to Philadelphia, those rumors started 2.5 weeks before the Birds eventually signed him and stunned the National Football League. With today being the middle of February, we're a week, maybe two at most, from getting legit rumors on legit signings and what Philadelphia might do, so subscribe and stay tuned. Now, moving on, and going back to the beginning of today's video, I mentioned the two kinds of Eagle rumors right now. Obviously, Michael Carter, Nick Herbig, Tanner McKee, those fall into the realistic category. But then there's the other category of ridiculous clickbait, and that's when we have to go and talk about A.J. Brown. If you went on Twitter over the weekend, you missed this image of A.J. Brown suddenly following Giants quarterback Jackson Dart and receiver Malik Neighbors on Instagram, which was quickly followed up by the now viral picture of A.J. Brown himself in a Giants t-shirt, sending Giant fans absolutely through the roof saying, oh my gosh, we're going to go ahead and get the Eagles wide receiver. The only problem is, a big one, the photo of Brown you see right here, it's actually from 2019, prior to him even being drafted in the National Football League. And that's not to even mention that trading A.J. Brown inside the division is probably the last thing Howie Roseman wants to do. We then also have A.J. himself going on Instagram and posting about his youth football camp in Allentown this coming May, which, again, not a big deal, but he is shown in green on the poster and included #FlyEaglesFly in the caption. Sorry, Giant fans, A.J. Brown is not being traded to the New York Giants. You couldn't give us a package big enough, unless it included Abdul Carter in a first-round draft pick, but they're not going to do that because Philadelphia is not going to send A.J. Brown to the NFC East at all, and they also aren't going to do it before the NFL draft. The biggest smoking gun in all of the A.J. Brown drama right now that nobody continues to want to mention is Philadelphia has to wait until after June 1st to make a trade. There's literally no way Philadelphia can trade away his contract and eat an insane amount of dead cap money, $43 million, before June 1st. And so every single time you see a CBS Sports mock trade or some Twitter guy mocking A.J. Brown to the Bills or to the Ravens, if it's pre-June 1st, if it includes 2026 draft picks, just ignore it because it really is not going to happen. Philadelphia has to wait until after June 1st. The dead cap money will still be high, but it will come down dramatically, and then they can trade A.J. Brown, which to me means that A, I don't think he's going to be traded. I've stood behind that the past couple of weeks. Or B, if they do, it would be a player-for-player sort of trade and not one where Philadelphia gets a 2027 draft pick because they still want to win right now, and getting rid of your number one wide receiver for somebody you can't actually even draft until next offseason, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. But that, of course, is how speculation goes. It's the offseason. You got to get clicks. People need to read your articles. I get it. What doesn't help, though, is Jason Kelce going on WIP last week, and I think he gave an honest take on A.J. Brown's frustrations with the team this past season, but this doesn't really help my whole idea of trying to keep A.J. Brown in Philly.
How hard is it to play with a player that's not giving full effort?
Yep.
It's incredibly frustrating, right? I think any player that's out there when you're seeing a teammate not go all out, like that's all you want from your teammates. And that's all we want as fans. And it's a really hard thing to optically watch. It's frustrating to watch. Few things are infuriating more than when that's optically apparent.
Yep.
I think one of the things though that I keep coming back to with AJ,
do you think that affected this Eagles team in 2025?
Well, I think whatever was affecting AJ affected the team, and I think that AJ was clearly affected. I don't know to what degree AJ affected other guys, probably a little bit. Whenever you have somebody who's doesn't have the right energy come through the building, you can just feel it. It's not good, right? Mm-hmm. But I think the reality is most of the words that come out of that building from players, from coaches, from everybody, love A.J. Brown. And I feel like it's not You can tell when a lot of times guys are just feeding you bull crap or whatnot. Yeah. There's a genuine appreciation for AJ. And do you know how hard that is when it's so apparent that he's frustrated on the field? Like normally a guy starts doing the field. Guys in the locker room, he needs to do better, man. This is bull crap. Like you don't hear that from AJ. And I think that's something of note. Because most of the time you do hear that when guys aren't doing that. So I think there's got to be a reason that AJ is well liked in the building by coaches and players. He's well respected. I think part of it is that he's a great player, and teammates want him there and know that he can be a dominating force for them. But those frustrations, he's just an unfortunate player who allows his internal frustrations to manifest into his play. And it makes him play worse, it makes the offense worse, and it makes his energy worse. And, some guys can block that out and go out there and just play football. He is clearly not one of those guys.
Finally, I do want to quickly hit on the Birds' replacement for Christian Parker. They hired him last week. Haven't mentioned this yet, but former Bill and Patriot cornerback coach Mike Pellegrino. And while I've said the entire offseason that we cannot judge any of the Eagles' new coaching hires until we actually see them in action. We have no idea what Sean Mannion's going to look like, the new offensive line coach, Mike Pellegrino, but I do like what Philadelphia is doing here because they're essentially trying to find the next Christian Parker. Pellegrino was the cornerback coach in New England at the tail end, or I guess the height of the Stephon Gilmore era, and also the beginning of the Christian Gonzalez era, both of whom were, and I guess are, elite number one cornerbacks in their prime. And while Philadelphia could re-sign Adoree Jackson, my guess is this offseason, the NFL draft, they're going to spend a high draft pick, first, second, third round, on their cornerback of the future opposite of Quinyon Mitchell. And so you take that and pair him with a young up-and-coming cornerback coach who has also, like Christian Parker, molded some pretty elite talent at that position. It could be a match made in heaven. Philadelphia's full embrace of a young coaching staff is honestly exciting to see. Like, sure, there's a massive risk here, but to me, the only way to find the next wave of elite coaches is to hire young and see what happens. I certainly like that plan over going out and getting some twice-fired, recycled guy who's just looking for a rebound. It certainly is boom or bust, but I'm really liking the hire of Pellegrino, and especially if Philadelphia can pair him with an elite young cornerback and also continue to improve Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. Like, they're already elite, they're already all pros, but I still don't think they've reached their absolute limit or the height of their powers, and now it's the new young coach, 32 years old, to mold the Eagles secondary and take the reins from Christian Parker. Now, of course, plenty more stuff happening the next couple of days and weeks, and again, not a lot going on right now, a lot of speculation. Bear with me, that's this time of the offseason, but I'm telling you, 1 week from now, 2 weeks from now, you're going to get an official Adam Schefter is hinting Philadelphia interested in X. We're going to get some real reports here what Philadelphia is going to do. So subscribe, drop a like, and watch the show to support the channel because the big stuff is coming. And also leave a comment because somebody needs to win the Big Dom signed card here. And if it's not Tony from earlier, it'll be one of you guys down in the comment section. I'm Thomas Mott, hanging out on Monday. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.